Welcome to this new episode of The Disabled Life. The purpose of this podcast is to tell people how I live my life. The name I'm using on the podcast now is The Disabled Guy, because I felt that you needed to hear something as opposed to just my voice there. I'm a disabled male living in Florida with cerebral palsy. I'm here to tell you how I live my life and some of the volunteer work that I do and how I manage to do it with cerebral palsy. Without further ado, let's go into the episode. This episode is going to go out today on Wednesday. It's being recorded on Wednesday, which I normally don't do. It's normally my posting day at 7 a.m. But due to some stuff yesterday, the day got away from me. I'm going to post it immediately after I edit it, which is going to be done today. Now to get into the episode. Today, Wednesday. Now to get into the episode. So this is an episode that I came up with yesterday, Tuesday. Sometimes parents of disabled people would do things that are not, let me not say not correct, but they give advice that's not relevant. Yes. Let me give you an example. I was texting with a podcaster friend, Mama D, yesterday, asking her about a podcast networking group that she's involved with to help other people. The reason I was doing that is because I have a friend of mine that wants to start a podcast, and I told her, hey, I have this resource. So she said to me, give me the info. So okay. So what happened yesterday was I said hello to Mama D, and then I asked her some questions. So due to that, there was a flurry of a couple of text messages going back and forth, because when you ask a question, the question should be answered. So she answers the question, and Mom, bless her heart, says, "Oh, don't send so many messages to her." I finished up what I was doing, and after I finished up what I was doing, I went over to Mom, and I explained to her what was happening, and she finally knew. But the piece of advice here is for parents and caregivers when an adult or a teenager sends messages, especially in my case when I had something, questions to penned, and teenagers and young adults may have that too, where they're starting to do volunteer work, etc., and they may have to throw questions and answers at people when things like that may seem that it's too much or too early, whatever. So what I say here is, do what you have to do, but moderate it. Make sure it's correct. Another thing I will do is I will listen to the piece of, I will listen to what they're saying, and then I will explain why I'm doing something. So she said, "Oh, that's what you're doing." I said, "Yeah, I have no objection to that. I have no problem with that. But I just thought that I'd give you this advice, because this advice is something important from one disabled member of the community or disabled person to another. I agree with you that sometimes people don't understand. I said people in general don't understand what's going on, what is happening, but we as disabled people sometimes have to do things that other people say, "Why are you doing that?" But sometimes we have our reasons. Don't let that deter you. But what works for me is when it's something like that happens, I will talk to them about it, and then I will talk to them and explain why I'm doing something. Because it's something that we have to do as people. It is something that as adults we deal with. So, another thing is when people do that, don't get upset. Talk to them, explain what's going on. This was the one that I did because I felt it happened to me a couple of times and I said it's time to deal with it. As a matter of fact, today is Flag Day. I did not know that. Flag Day is important to me because of the family that I have in the military. And let's say this. With that, thank you for listening, and I'll be back on my normal schedule. In closing, let me say thank you for listening to this episode of The Disabled Life. You can follow me on the following platforms. You can follow me at Good Pods. You can leave comments, messages there. You can also follow me on Twitter at The Disabled Guy. And you can also listen to me on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and many others. Once again, thank you for listening, and I'll also give you my email. My email is Kilo Echo 4 Kilo Echo Yankee or KE4KEY@gmail.com. Once again, thank you, and thank you for your support. And I'll see you next week.